Less than 10%. Think about that for a second. Less than 10% of people actually achieve their New Year's resolutions. It's honestly a staggering statistic. Every single year, millions of us set these huge, ambitious goals. We're going to lose weight, save money, learn a completely new skill, only to just totally abandon them by, mid-February? But what if I told you that this failure actually isn't because you're lazy, and it's definitely not because you lack character? Welcome back to the channel. In this visual explainer, we're taking complex concepts and breaking them down into clear, actionable takeaways for you. Today, we're unlocking the literal neuroscience of achieving our goals. We're going to fundamentally shift how you view your own willpower. We are moving entirely away from guilt, and instead, we're moving towards a hard, scientific understanding of how your brain actually operates. Here is our quick roadmap for this explainer. We'll hit the biology of discipline, why we naturally resist change, our mental toughness toolkit, daily routines, and finally, embracing discomfort. All right, let's jump right in. Our guide for this journey is Daniel Walter's highly acclaimed book, The Power of Discipline. Walter has a background in cognitive neuroscience, and he argues something that is honestly incredibly liberating. We need to stop blaming our lack of progress on laziness right now. Instead, we need to look under the hood and understand our biology. Section 1. The biology of discipline. Let's blame evolution, not laziness. We usually just assume that self-discipline is this innate trait, like you're either lucky enough to be born with it or you're not. But neuroscientists have proven that is completely false. Discipline is an actual, physical, measurable function taking place right behind your eyes. It's not some cute personality quirk, it is a biological capacity. And the best part, it can be strengthened, literally just like lifting weights at the gym. I want you to imagine a literal tug of war happening in your head right now. On one side of the rope, you have the ventral striatum. This is the primitive, survival-focused part of your brain that is just screaming for instant gratification and sugar. On the other side is your prefrontal cortex. That's the advanced, logical center, the adult in the room. It's responsible for discipline, focus, and delaying rewards. When you give in to a temptation, that primitive brain wins the tug of war. But when you hold firm, you are literally strengthening the neural pathways in your prefrontal cortex. So, the absolutely crucial thing to understand here is that willpower is finite. It functions exactly like a muscle, meaning it gets tired and depletes with use. There was this famous 1996 study by psychologist Roy Baumeister that demonstrated this perfectly. He put people in a room with warm, fresh-baked cookies and bitter radishes. One group got to eat the cookies, the other group had to exert massive willpower to eat only the radishes while smelling those cookies. Afterward, both groups were given a completely impossible puzzle to solve. And guess what? The radish eaters, whose willpower was already totally drained from resisting the cookies, quit the puzzle significantly faster. Willpower fatigue is a very real, very biological phenomenon. Moving on to Section 2, why we resist change, let's look at the psychological blockers. Okay, so once our willpower is depleted for the day, our minds start throwing up these specific psychological roadblocks just to keep us safely stuck in our current routines. The first major one is the status quo bias. Look, your brain is wired for one thing, survival. And to your primitive brain, consistency equals safety. Even if your current habits are totally self-destructive, like eating poorly or constantly procrastinating, your mind clings to them just to avoid the perceived threat of the unknown. We will naturally choose a familiar problem over an unfamiliar solution every single time. Now, combine that with the Dunning-Kruger effect, and man, you have a recipe for total stagnation. This cognitive bias creates a super dangerous blind spot. It's basically when we falsely believe we are already highly disciplined or highly skilled, which obviously halts any real progress. Because we overestimate where we're currently at, we never put in the rigorous, boring, daily practice required to actually get better. We literally convince ourselves we don't need to change. Section 3. The Mental Toughness Toolkit. Let's talk about hacking your biology. Now that we know exactly how our biology and psychology are teaming up against us, how do we fight back? Let's pivot to Walter's actionable solutions. The absolute best tool here is the incredible 40% rule. When you are working on something tough, say you're running a marathon, or you're just trying to finish a really complex project at work, and your brain tells you that you are completely 100% exhausted and you just have to quit, you've actually only tapped into 40% of your available energy. Seriously, your brain is just throwing up an early warning signal to protect you. Pushing past that initial wall of discomfort unlocks the remaining 60% of your hidden capacity. That hidden capacity also really factors into our daily choices when we use the 10-minute rule and a concept called urge surfing. Normally, we identify right away with our urges, thinking, oh man, I need to eat that cake right now. Instead, try to detach yourself. Say out loud, I am experiencing an urge. And then, just wait 10 minutes before doing anything. In those 10 short minutes, the primitive brain's panic usually subsides, and your logical prefrontal cortex comes back online so you can make the disciplined choice. You're just riding the wave of that urge until it crashes on the shore. Another incredible tool you can use anytime, anywhere is the Navy SEAL 4-7-8 breathing technique. High stress floods your body with cortisol, which literally shuts down your disciplined prefrontal cortex and throws you right into an impulsive fight-or-flight mode. But by breathing in for 4 seconds, holding it for 7, and exhaling for 8, you biologically force your heart rate to slow down. This immediately lowers your stress levels and puts you right back in the driver's seat of your own mind. Section 4. Systems and daily routines. Let's automate your success. Because we know willpower is a depleting muscle, we absolutely cannot just rely on it all day long. It'll run out. We need to engineer our environment to automate success. Establishing rock-solid daily routines acts as the invisible infrastructure for your discipline. The rule is simple. If you master your morning, you master your day. By automating good choices from the literal moment you wake up, you preserve your precious willpower for the truly complex, difficult decisions you're going to face later in the afternoon. There's a massive contrast in how we start our days. A disciplined draining morning involves hitting snooze 3 times, endlessly scrolling social media in bed, and reacting to work emails in a total panic. That completely bankrupts your daily willpower budget before you even walk out the front door. On the flip side, a disciplined building morning involves a planned wake time, a solid, nutritious breakfast, and proactive planning. This minimizes decision fatigue right out of the gate and builds massive momentum for the rest of the day. But look, discipline shouldn't just be pure misery, right? Sustainable discipline actually requires you to kind of enjoy the process. You can trick your brain by creating positive associations. For example, if you absolutely hate reviewing your monthly finances, only let yourself do it while drinking your favorite premium coffee. Pair the difficult task with a rewarding stimulus. Over time, your brain will completely rewire itself to actually anticipate and enjoy doing the challenging work. Finally, Section 5, Embracing Necessary Discomfort. This is the ultimate mandate of the whole book, challenging you to completely redefine your relationship with pain, friction, and effort. There is a very stark psychological difference between trying and committing. When you say you're just trying to do something, you are subconsciously giving yourself an out, an escape route. It's a half-hearted effort that kind of expects failure. Committing, on the other hand, that means 100% effort with 0 non-negotiable standards. You burn the boats. There are no excuses anymore, only execution. To truly commit to something, you have got to embrace the discomfort. Voluntarily seek out difficult tasks every single day. Maybe it's a cold shower, a grueling workout, or even just a tough conversation you've been putting off. Use those moments as a training academy for your mind. You need to reframe that friction. It is not a sign to stop. It is the literal, physical proof that you're making progress and that you are growing. I want to leave you with this absolutely powerful thought from Daniel Walter. Failure is just data. That's all it is. It's just a stepping stone to getting better next time. But the true, ultimate cost of living an undisciplined life is the agonizing pain of looking back 10 years from now and wondering what you could have been if you had just stuck with it. So I'm leaving you with a direct challenge right now. What will you commit to today? Not what you'll try to do, but what you will absolutely 100% commit to. Pick just one tool from this explainer, maybe the 4-7-8 breathing or the 10-minute rule, apply it right now, and drop your commitment in the comments below. Let's build a disciplined community together here on the channel. Thanks so much for watching this visual explainer, and stay focused.